Hello, Cancer. Welcome to your June 2024 forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. A quick reminder before we get into the forecast, you can always use this reading for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. Let's get into your channeled messages. These come through in dreams, and then I interpret them afterwards. So the first thing that the guides brought through in dreams this morning was rendering. Basically, for those of you in computer-aided design, or maybe even if you're a games illustrator, you know what I'm talking about. I kind of saw the polygons that hadn't yet fully been realized. So I was seeing shapes turn into a more detailed picture, and I kind of saw it line by line, almost like the old days of the internet when it took a while for an image to download. So we can take this in a figurative sort of representation that some of you just need to get the big picture. That is why I put the Eight of Cups here. Taking a step back, really allowing yourself to just take a deep breath and sort of surmise, how far have you come? Is there anything that is unclear? Do you need to ask any questions to get that clarity? Then you can move forward. So get the big picture before making a decision. And until you get that, until you hear both sides or see something holistically, it might be better to just put the pause button on and wait. Eight of Cups is buying yourself a little bit of time. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 5 days. It's not saying no to something, it's saying let's dig a little deeper before we make our mind up. One thing that I liked about this is that the future, and this is always the case, or we wouldn't show up every month to talk about things, but the future isn't fully in stone here. There's a lot of things that are still moving and getting filled in, which means you have the ability to shape the outcome. So if you don't like the direction in which something is headed, whether it's a project, a relationship, an activity, whatever, this is the time to raise your hand and say, I have some thoughts, I have some ideas, I have some concerns. And I think the other thing here is just patience. Sometimes we are so used to things happening just like that, that when it takes a little bit of time for things to come together, we may again be jumping to a conclusion that it's not happening. When it is, it's just taking time for something quality to be delivered. So there you go. Get the big picture, ask questions if you're not clear. If you want to make change, now is the time to do so. And in general, taking a step back is going to be really advantageous. Don't rush. This is the next message. So I was shown a very specific scenario. And again, I abstract dreams because a lot of times it's not a literal thing. It's just showing kind of like, for me, a scene that comes together, kind of like a tarot card to help us understand things. So what I saw was a traveler that was in such a hurry that they left their rental car in the parking lot and the luggage in there and just ran into the plane. And then didn't realize until they were at their destination that they still had luggage and a car to return and all of that. So very unlikely that that would happen. What this is really indicating is that nothing positive comes from rushing. A lot of times we end up leaving key pieces, behind. And for some of you, I would say right now it's better to do it right the first time. To also, just like we talked about previously, raise your hand if you have a concern that something's being pushed before it's finished or before all the key components are there. Having a checklist and having a priority list is really important. Whatever it is that you're doing in your life, to make sure that everything is being done and you're not leaving something out. The whole idea of omitting or omission also came to mind. Now, sometimes we just kind of like edit things down so we don't overwhelm people. But if there's an important decision that someone needs to make, it may be better to ask them, do you want to hear the whole story, or would you like to hear more about this, before omitting it? Let them be the judge of how much or how deep they want to go into something. And then that way you're just being transparent, clear, and honest about anything. Let's see here. Again, I think it's important to keep all of your obligations and appointments, because when we think of the rental car and all of that, that represents an agreement that wasn't fulfilled. You needed to kind of hand it off. So for some of you, it could just be like, oh, I was in such a hurry, I forgot I had basically said I was going to do this. So getting organized, not rushing, and being clear and transparent, I think is really, really key. Also, there might be something hidden, a hidden opportunity or resource. Like I saw the baggage in the trunk there, and it requires a little bit of digging to find, and that could actually be advantageous. Knight of Swords acts really, really quickly, sometimes too hastily, and so I think it's important to go a little slower this month And that is going to save you time in the long run. Let's move on to the final dream that I had. And this was basically a beautiful jewelry box opening up, and I saw 2 rings inside. This can represent 1 or 2 contracts on the horizon. It can be love. It can also be the promise of something newer or better. Typically, though, when we see a ring, it shows a person or a partnership coming through. I think the key thing here is to be open. Just like I saw Spirit opening the box. I didn't see the person. I didn't see what was coming from this. I just focused in on that box and the rings inside. So are you open to receive partnership, opportunity, connections? And if you are, this can kind of really start to come into fruition this month. Again, it doesn't have to just be love. This could be someone that wants to connect with you, invest in you, or support you. And that was the final dream that I had today. So let's go ahead now, give the cards a shuffle, and see what else is in store in the month ahead. All right, please close your eyes. Let's focus in on the energy for the month ahead. Again, this can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. All right, let's get started with Corvid, which also connects with your own personal card this month, which is Death and Transformation. It is extremely auspicious and powerful that the Corvid symbol is coming through as your catalyst. This comprises birds, including ravens and crows, magpies and jays, basically birds that connect to scavenging and to the energy of death. But death also carries with it rebirth. And death is also simply a metaphor for change. And so as we look at this Corvid card, it's saying, embrace change. Use whatever's in front of you, whatever opportunities might be in front of you, as a chance for yourself to grow, to learn new things, and let go of whatever needs or wants to pass from your life. There may be someone who just says, I'm ready to move on. This can happen in so many different places. It can be in a work relationship. It can be a job where you're laid off. There could be maybe the apartment that you're living in is being sold. So many different things could happen where the element of change, that part is out of your control. But what you do with the change, this is where the power sits this month. And this is where the energy of rebirth can come through. All right, let's go ahead now, take a quick look at all of the cards here and see what the overall trend is for the month ahead. I love that we have a card that shows the ability to envision and basically manage things right at the center. We have a lot of creative and productive energy in the flow here. And the main sort of challenge here for some of you is, again, taking a first step into change, into movement, and not rushing here. I think it is about one step at a time. Things are moving in the right direction. I can say that from what I'm seeing here. So I'm going to try to help you ease into the change. Let's go ahead and begin with your centermost card. You got the King of Wands in the reverse state, but let's go ahead and look at this card upright. Everything you need for success, it's basically contained in this illustration. We have someone here that is marching to the beat of their own drum. They're following and or creating and even sort of, fanning the flames of their passion. And through that comes success, recognition, and fulfillment. So be unique, be singular, stand out, shake things up a little bit this month. A reversed King of Wands is basically going to say, I'm very clear on what it is that I want. They're not afraid to put a line in the sand or to say no or to really push to get their vision out there, for better or for worse. They're like, I really know what I want. So what I love about this card is that sense of confidence, vision, and belief in yourself. There's always an opportunity with the King of Wands reversed to stay open, to keep an open mind. So sometimes we are presented with something that puts us outside of our comfort zone, a change. The change could be a change for the better. So I would encourage you, of course, to fight and advocate for what it is that you want, but there could be a way to get it done a little faster, a little easier, and it might just be a small movement or alteration. Consider that, stay open. But at the core of this card is power, vision, movement, and expertise. So trust yourself. That's the last thing with this card in reverse. Sometimes it can be one of second guessing, and we don't want that to happen either. Crossing this, we have Four of Swords. So if we look at these cards here, it's all wands at the center. Two of Wands, King of Wands, Eight of Wands. These are very good. So this is envisioning, this is leading, and this is things kind of getting moving. The key to your success beyond sort of like just believing in yourself is also making sure that you take a break every now and then, enough so that you can recharge, so that you're not running on empty. And you can see all of these little wings coming through, not these wings, but these feathers from heaven. For those of you that watch my channel regularly, even just this video today, if you just saw this one, you know that a big component of what I do is dream interpretation. So the night that before I do a video, I say, all right, show me what I need to know for the sign. And I'm very specific. Show me what I can see that will help the sign either advance or get past blocks. Then I go to bed and I see what happens. You can program your dreams in the same way. You could say, give me some insight or ideas on how to solve this problem, or help me understand what's going on in this relationship, and see what your guides bring through. You can do it in meditation as well. You don't need to be asleep for this to happen, but there is power in dreams. We get ideas, we rest, we connect with spirit. Some of you are running on empty, and this card is saying it's time now to take a break. So there's going to be plenty of time to get things done. Taking a day off or getting 6 or 8 hours of sleep tonight, that might be the best gift that you can give to yourself. And one thing that I've learned, if I look at the 2 points of my life where I'm at, like right now and like back when I was in school and much younger, I used to burn the candle at both ends, and I would sometimes even be hard on my body with that, like drinking caffeine to stay up late or whatever. As I've gotten older, I realized nothing really productive or good comes past 11 or 12 o'clock at night. You're just sort of, you're more apt to make mistakes, to forget something. We talked about in dreams, like leaving something in the trunk or, the back of the car. Sometimes you forget something because your brain is on overdrive. So less is more. As we take a look here at the deep past, we have the beautiful Page of Swords. And this one is really about wish fulfillment and also like speaking things into existence. So we see here a dandelion seed pod, and we can infer from this that someone made a wish. Also, we're seeing these, the ideas that are coming from this starting to move and take root in the world. So communicating is key. Saying what you like, saying what you don't like, creating boundaries. This is really important. It's important in relationships, especially, whether it's personal or business. You can say like, amazing job on that. Please continue what you're doing. Or I wish I could see more of this from you. Putting it into the sort of wish language. State what it is that you need. Also speak to yourself, to your guides, to the universe, and also put into, whether it's basically a journal or a kind of list of things, a goal or an itinerary, what it is that you want to do. I talked about the checklist, right? Back in dreams, it would be very helpful when you're traveling, but not just when you're traveling. I would say this month in general, just having that list and saying, I'm going to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it, and these are the most important things today. It'll keep you accountable. So through the communication comes wish fulfillment and accountability, and that's what I'm getting from that. But unlike a birthday cake where you're, blowing out candles and you're not allowed to say the wish, the reverse is true with this. Speak your wish. Let others know. That is the way that it will happen. Okay? And we shouldn't be afraid of communicating our wishes and desires. I actually think there's something a little bit backwards about that secret wish. Let it be known. Let people know how and when to kind of show up, okay? If we just look at this triptych, these 3 cards together, again, this is a card of envisioning, this is leading, and this is seeing it starting to take flight. So we'll begin with the envisioning piece. Some of you just need to, since we had the 4 of Swords in the center, slow down long enough to create time to basically get organized in your thoughts. 2 of Wands is looking at where you're at, looking at where you want to go, figuring out how it's all going to happen in between. Now, because this card is reversed, we can see external pressure sometimes impeding on the ability to achieve your highest potential. What do I mean by this? Sometimes our parents will cap our dreams and say that's all that you can do, or you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not this enough, you're not that enough to make the dream happen. Who are they to say that? This is up to the universe and your own potential. So when you create your own dream or wish or intention, tune out some of the white noise and say instead, between you and the creative force, I'm ready and willing to receive all of this or greater. And that is basically saying, maybe my heart, maybe my imagination couldn't even fathom that this other thing was possible, but maybe I'm ready on a soul level. Maybe the universe sees that. Let's bring it on. And I'm not going to question it if it surpasses my dreams or expectations. So absolutely be discerning, but don't be surprised if you get more, especially if you start to open yourself to receive more. And that was one of the things that came through on this. If you're closed-minded in the approach, if it can only be done one way, you may miss something bigger. And it might be right there in front of you. And that's what the 2 of Wands is saying, okay? So you are actively creating and co-creating your own reality, and it is possible for you to do better than you or others expected, so long as you are open and you don't let other people's fears or projections enter into your reality. The good news for many of you is we see a like-minded or kindred spirit entering into the picture in the form of the 6 of Cups. This is someone in your life that really gets who you are. They see you on a soul level. It could be a best friend, a sibling. It can be a love interest as well. And in that realm, in the realm of love and relationships, this is one of the best cards you can get. It's in the same sort of pantheon as the 2 of Cups, the 4 of Wands, the Lovers. What this represents is that best friend energy or soul sister, soul brother energy. And it's also the inner child that wants to come out and play. So for those of you that have been working extremely hard, this center card, the one that was crossing the center, the 4 of Swords and the 6 of Cups, rest and play. 2 of the most important sort of ingredients to being productive. Let's not forget about them this month. Have some fun. And this is you connecting with the younger version of yourself, following up on any promises, goals, or dreams that you had when you were a kid and saying, now's the time, right? And if you do meet someone new in your life this month, it'll be easy to identify 6 of Cups energy. I've had this happen maybe 3 or 4 times in my life, best friend energy. The first time I met these people, I just thought to myself, I want to know them more and we're going to be like great friends. And in each scenario, it's happened. And I typically keep in touch with these people throughout my life. So you just have an instant spark. And so that was the 2 rings that I saw. It doesn't have to just be romantic. It can be bestie sort of energy, BFF, best friends forever. It can also be an ideal partnership in like work or something of that nature. And I like that. There's a humorous, playful, jovial energy with the 6 of Cups. So have some fun. It's going to help you accomplish your goals and dreams. Past life energy as well with the 2. This is like the partnership here. Many lifetimes together, right? And now you're coming through again because we have a divine partnership with the 2 death cards. Let's talk about the near future first. So what a beautiful illustration for the 8 of Wands. Normally we just see these wands going through the air kind of like rockets. Here we have a bunch of parasols or umbrellas kind of going through the air. And you can see this lift or the speed with which things start to pick up. So get ready for that. The card in reverse could show that for some of you, you may be dragging your feet just a little bit or maybe worried, can I keep up? Yes, you can. But what you might need to lean into is the management energy here. Say no to things that don't really kind of resonate. Make sure that you're not doing everything like micromanaging. So delegating, saying no, empowering people around you, this will help you get the rest that you need, will help you have more fun, and will allow you to basically, rise up to the occasion. And that's what we see with the Eight of Wands. You're going to be able to approach any challenge, change, or opportunity and rise up, okay? Sometimes you can feel lost in the shuffle or lost in the sort of flow of whatever it is that you're working on. So the other thing with any of the cards and wands that we're looking at, you can always go down a bit. So you can go down to the energy of the Four of Wands and its partnership, or the Six of Wands where you're focusing more on what people are saying and needing, or the Two of Wands going back to the vision. You can always slow down a little bit and ground yourself and then get back into this productive flow. So do what you need to this month, you've got it. The card that represents you this month is Death, but Death, of course, is also transformation and rebirth, and we can see that rebirth energy beautifully illustrated here. It's not a matter of when or if, it's just basically how you want to embrace the change. So there's something in your life right now that will benefit from a different approach. It could be anything from health to love to personal development, you name it. So the question for you is, are you ready for the change? If you become an agent of the change, like we saw with the Corvid card, then you have a lot of ability to control, shape, and mold things. And I mentioned that image that was rendering. You can actually go in there, and it's almost like an artist, put your own sort of paint strokes or your own vision in there, and then things start to move around that. So be the co-creator, be the one that's initiating it. Put your wishes and desires out there and allow them to really start to create some beautiful ripples of change. I talk about the Death card also being compared to a wave crashing on the shore, and you could be like the surfer. So we start to see these, I would say there's multiple waves of change that can come through. You can ride these successfully, especially with the King of Wands at the center. So speak up, ask questions, keep an open heart and an open mind. And if you do that, then this is really just a month of new beginnings, right? If you resist death, the Tower typically comes through. So let's not do that. Let's embrace it. And let's see what might be changing for many of you. So when we look in the environment, it's about working smarter, not necessarily working harder. This particular person, she's been through it. She's got a lot of stitches, from difficult moments. Those thorns on that rose have taken their toll. So in your own life, maybe you've had to fight to get where you're at. Fight against prejudice, fight your own sort of tendencies sometimes to disbelieve yourself. Maybe not everything was easy. It wasn't all handed to you. And we can see you've been through it. You've been through a lot. But you're actually at a pivot right now, a really sort of powerful moment where it's about to get easier if you allow it. But there can be this moment of disbelief, like I actually set out to do something and I did it. For those of you that are just fatigued, this is reminding you to go back to the reason. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? And see how far you've come. Don't let that go this month, okay? Take care of yourself, though. With the Nine of Wands, it's not illustrated as such here. I'll pull the traditional one in a second here, but it can show mental fatigue. Sometimes even, there's so many things that could be going through your head that you just feel like, I don't know where to get started. And that's okay. Lean on the support of others. Talk to a friend in this instance if you need to. And ultimately remember that the Nine of Wands only comes through for someone who's really strong, really capable, and also very deserving of the change that wants to present itself. And just like me, as I push through all of these cards, here it is. It's the second to the last. Here's your Nine of Wands. What you can see there is the bandage on the head representing, a lot of the sort of challenges this month could be in ways of thinking. Thinking to yourself, this is too hard, or it's never going to improve, or why am I doing this? So that is the one thing you want to be mindful of and center yourself on, but look at how far I've come and look at how close I am to the finish line, okay? And that's the main thing there. There could also just be, things could be taking a toll emotionally, physically, spiritually. And so what you really want to do, again, is connect with that energy of rest and play. And that helps alleviate the fatigue of the Nine of Wands. All right. Lo and behold, you have the 10th wand coming here as the ace. So you are so close to the finish line. Don't give up. I can say that with this. 9 plus 1 equals 10. 10 of wands is completion. And it looks like this last opportunity or resource or idea that comes in is really, really great. And it is an answer to whatever it is that you wished or spoke into existence. So it may not be immediately. It may take a month or two to fully come into fruition. But wow, when it does, you're going to be glad that you didn't give up. You're going to be glad that you waited. Good stuff is on the horizon. Now, the Ace of Wands can represent a new idea. And this is the time to plant the seed if you have that new idea. It can be someone putting something in front of you saying, what do you think of this? What they see in you is the potential to take it to the next level. You've got so many developmental cards because we have Page of Swords here. We have the Ace of Wands. So good communication, good ideation. Then we have leadership and production energy at the center. So if you want to launch a business, if you want to create a new partnership, if you want to draft up a contract, yes, yes, and yes. Lots of good energy around creation. Whatever you want to create this month, things are in your favor, okay? Let's go ahead and see your outcome. Just take your time. That's the important thing here. We have the Hanged One or Hanged Man in the reverse state. And if we were to look at the Hanged Man upright, it basically is saying, take one more moment wherever you're at. Look at things a second or third time. Check that list. Make sure that you've done everything you wanted to. Listen and look at things from all perspectives. That's why this is a person upside down. They're able to see the world differently. And lo and behold, the Two of Wands is actually mirroring that. And it's looking at the world upside down or inside out or from a different angle. So we can even see that Two of Wands as being out of the box and like exploring and curiosity and all of that. So if you're willing to show people a different way, that can also be part of this. But you have to take your time and think it through, okay? Don't let someone else rush you before something is done. Don't rush yourself. And when it comes to health, we'll talk more about this, but take care of the foot and ankle, okay? And that's everything for the Hanged Man in reverse. Let's go ahead now and go into the next portion of this reading. We're going to expand it to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, always beginning with the energy of health, which is mind, body, and spirit. The Thicket of Thorns. This is connected absolutely to the Nine of Wands because we have the rose with all the thorns on it. But let's talk about this from a health perspective. So for many of you, what's going on for some of you is this feeling of the unknown. So thorns can also just be your discomfort with change, which is uncertainty. It can be your discomfort with pushing yourself to the finish line. It can also be your discomfort even with slowing down, because all of these areas are advantageous, but maybe they're unfamiliar to you. The unfamiliarity or the sort of like lack of knowing, that's what's really creating the thorny energy in this. This could also be for some of you acute pain, because I'm looking at the thorns and it could just be one sharp pain or area of discomfort. Obviously for that, you'll want to work with a doctor. But most of this is to explore all the options in front of you. So ask questions, stay open-minded, and know that there's more than one way to get through this. You don't have to take the trickier path anymore if you don't want to. Look at all of the options, ask all of the questions, and that research is going to pay off. Let's go ahead and look at all of the cards now and see what other health messages are coming through. As we take a look at arguably the most important card because it represents you, but also one of the most significant cards here in the major arcana, death can be you having a wake-up call. Maybe there's something that your doctor said based on your family history and said, now is the time to make a change so you don't have to have that same sort of scenario play out. So you get that brush with an experience that a family member had, but you're like, I'm going to take a different path. You're not going to take the path of thorns, right? You're going to move in a different direction. That's why this card was reversed. So if you don't want it, now is the time to change. It's never too late to make an impactful or an important change. Maybe this is stopping smoking or stopping drinking or changing your exercise or diet routine so that you're going to be healthier. And that's one thing that we can look at here. This can also be stagnation. So if you feel that something in your life inhibits growth, Or if you feel like the environment is toxic and that is also what's kind of like inhibiting your ability to be happy and healthy, pay attention to that. Something clear and necessary is in front of you. The universe is saying, are you on board? If you are, then we have something wonderful waiting for you, but you have to be ready and willing to listen to that wake-up call. So that's one thing. Quality and quantity of sleep with the Four of Swords is going to be important. This is typically too little. When this comes through, you're doing great, clearly, but you're not allowing enough time for yourself. You're either overdue for a vacation, you're not getting enough rest. Your energy could just be taking a hit because there's only so much the body can do for a prolonged amount of time. So just know your limits and speak up when it comes to those limits. The energy of children is coming through as a strong point here. So this could be having fun, inner child energy like play, but there could also be children in your life that bring joy to you. So spend more time with them. Clearly, this might be a work-life balance sort of thing. Some of you are thinking about having a child as well. In this card, we see just kind of an unusual illustration because there's like the older version of you and then the inner children. But typically there's two kids and they're handing one another flowers. So twin energy, sometimes associated with this. So be mindful of that if you are looking to get pregnant. It might actually be more than one. Let me see if there's anything else that we need to be mindful of here. Oh, I was talking about these two together, first of all, can just be stagnating. And this is saying get out of the energy of stagnation. So that's one thing. But when it comes to your body, this card is associated with the foot and the ankle. And tenderness or vulnerability like the Achilles tendon or maybe a former twisted ankle that has a little bit of weakness or vulnerability. So wear protective footwear, be mindful of where you're stepping. Any sort of physical therapy or anything of that nature could also be advantageous there. Otherwise, you actually have pretty good energy across the board. As I said with the Nine of Wands, sometimes this can be a card that is associated with headaches or mental fatigue or difficulty in concentration. And it's mostly due to overwork. This is overwork. This is the remedy, which is rest. So take care of yourself. All right? And remember, you can take a different path. It doesn't have to be the path of thorns or the thicket of thorns. Let's move on to wealth and see what's coming through here. Okay, as we take a look here at wealth, we have a card of self-acceptance. This is going to connect you to this. This card is all about passion and self-fulfillment. And the way that you're going to get there is by loving and accepting yourself. The caption on this says, "Thank you, angels, for lovingly guiding me to self-acceptance." If I look back at something that I'm really happy that I did, many of you know that I had a traditional 9-to-5 job and I quit it so that I could follow my passion. At the time, I guess I didn't really wrap my head around how, unusual or risky or whatever or unproven that path was, but I wanted to do it and I had just lost a parent and I thought to myself, I got to start living life for me and living to make sure that I'm getting all the things done that I want to get done. You're not getting any younger at some point. So I thought to myself, let's do this. And the love and acceptance was key because at the time I was studying yoga, I was doing this and writing a book. And I just put this energy out there. I'm really feeling a lot of resonance with doing readings and talking about metaphysics and intuitive development. Not everyone's going to get that. But it didn't matter because I liked it. And I knew that I would find people like you and connect with kindred spirits. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said, contracts and partnerships are going to play an important part. Your kindred spirits could be a business partner, a best friend, a client, someone who says, I see what you do. I like it. We're on the same level. And that's how this is going to come together. That's why we're getting heart or passion or love energy here, which is in alignment with what we've got here at the center with the King of Wands, passion. So passion and ideas, you've got to feel it. This is also a card of passion if I'm looking at relationships. But in business and relationships, you've got to feel that sense of passion and fulfillment. And then when you're marching to the beat of your own drum, you're going to find your own bandmates. They're going to resonate with that metronome, with that sound. So just be yourself. That's the best advice I can give you when it comes to success this month. But let's take it a little bit more granularly. We're going to look at those that are working, seeking work, or happily retired, or maybe students as well. I put all of those together at the end. Let's go ahead and start with those that are in a job first. So if you're in a job, there's some changes. You may decide to ride the changes out, and there may be more than one thing going on. So it could be a change of management, a merger of the company, your job title could be changing, different team, different location, multiple changes for some of you. For some of you, it's just deciding that you want to make a shift or a move. So in a job where you want to ride out the change, it can be good. It's going to take a little bit longer than you want or expected because we have the Hanged Man in reverse in the outcome. So patience might be tried, but it does look like you're treading in the right direction. Now, there is a warning here. If there's resistance or a lack of movement from the people that you're talking to, your bosses, whoever it is that's kind of a decision maker, that in and of itself should be what you need to know that it's time to move in a different direction, okay? The Death card can also just represent innovation, change, and disruption. So when we look at the way that we consume music and watch television and compare it to the late 90s or early 2000s, those are examples of disruption in the industry. Same thing with publishing. It's all gone electronic or streaming, and things have changed. So there may be something that you see out there as an entrepreneur, maybe, where you think, all right, I think I can do it differently. The main piece of advice I have for you is protect your ideas. We actually see this book and this idea, like get it in writing, get it put through the trademark and patent process if needed. Don't rush anything before you also get the resources. The one thing that's lacking from this spread, and we're looking, of course, at finances, is Pentacles. So I think it's important to plan it out. And if you need support, here's the good news. It feels this. We're looking mostly at entrepreneurs here, but you have the ability to get some backing or at least some positive traction to create that sort of financial opportunity that you're looking for. Okay, and that's pretty much everything for those that are currently employed. I do see a little bit of burnout here, so again, taking some time off if you have that capacity to do so. For those that are job seeking, I want to ground you one more time in the Oracle card here, love and accept yourself, but really love what you're doing, love what you're putting out into the world. That sort of enthusiasm is what's going to be really, really sort of attractive to others. And again, this energy of marching to the beat of your own drum, being the creator, being sort of innovative. I really feel a strong entrepreneurial energy coming forth this month, but I think that for some of you, it's also just looking for experiences that are not rinse and repeat. It's not the same old, same old. So be ready and willing to pivot if you want to, because I feel like it could be exciting. I know the one thing for me, it's almost been 10 years now that I've decided to take this path, but I'm so glad I did. I couldn't imagine me still doing the old job that I used to be doing. I wouldn't have been satisfied. Something else would have happened. I needed to move on from that. There are points in our life where we have to change and not repeat. So I feel like that's the main opportunity in this job-seeking endeavor, is it should be different. And one of the things that it's attached to death here is this sort of burnout energy of the Nine of Wands, being pushed constantly. There has to be the ability for you to come up with ideas, to lead, to try different things, to step out and see the bigger pictures we talked about from like channel messages, and maybe even just to have some more fun. So in your new job-seeking options, be willing to look at something very, very different. We have, for some of you, the wish to want to work with children. It could be teaching, it could be mentorship. For some of you, with the Eight of Wands, we're looking at something from a different perspective. It could be also like boss or leadership. So mentoring, leading, getting a different view in the same sort of thing, not maybe working in the sort of thicket, but as a leader. This is innovation. This is innovation and change, as we talked about just a few moments ago. So you might be trying to invent or to change or to inform or to research new things, research and development. That's what it can't just be a rinse and repeat. Something has to be a little bit different this time, okay? And that's the main thing that I'm getting. If you're looking for a job, don't kind of get upset if it doesn't happen immediately. We have 6 and 8 that are coming to my mind. So we could be looking at the 6th of the month, the 8th of the month, or it could be 6 to 8 weeks for things to come fully to fruition. Be patient and really go for the one that feels most passionate to you. But again, I'm seeing leadership, mentorship, teaching opportunities and change opportunities coming through. So look for jobs maybe in those fields and be willing and ready to wait a little bit more than a month for some of you. It's either going to be like right at the beginning or 6 to 8 weeks from now. Okay. And that's what I'm picking up on with respect to that. By the way, the Page of Swords it's a great card for writing and communication. So for those of you that want to go into that field, we see you maybe tapping into an old skill since it's in the karmic area here. Students, again, something needs to change or to move a little bit. Some of you might be bored or burned out. You might be looking for a way to do something a little bit different than what's prescribed or expected. Absolutely, explore that. Talk to your advisor, see what you can do. I will say, by and large, you're tracking really, really well towards success. 2 of Wands, King of Wands, 8 of Wands. Everything's moving along well. A little bit fatigued, a little bit burned out. Some of you just need to try something different. This could be deciding to study abroad. This because we see something that here just kind of reminds me of traveling. And there's a vibe of London with that because it's like Mary Poppins. But yeah, it could be deciding to study abroad for a semester, to do an internship, to do a gap semester or gap year, to do something just a little bit different so that you can then say, am I on the right path? Do I like what I'm still doing before you finish or complete that? It's unconventional, but sometimes it's the best thing that you can do for yourself. I know that for me, between undergraduate and graduate, I took like a gap semester and it was like the best thing ever. I put an internship in it to kind of give myself permission to do something different for 6 to 8 months. But I went back to school in the fall feeling really, really happy that I took the spring semester off. And I worked hard to like graduate early to make this all happen, but it was so fun and it was so worth it. And it helped inform a better trajectory. So take a break if you need to. Try something different. Whatever it is for you that's going to create that sense of movement. Very similar energy for retirees. Some of you are just looking at life and thinking, you know what, there's finite amount of time that I have on this planet. I want to make the most of it. What's attached to this is time with children, time with friends, making new friends, maybe finding new love, new partnership energy, and not, I get restlessness coming through. Obviously, you don't want to like rush anything or rush into travel immediately, but there's this feeling like maybe you want to learn something new, maybe you want to focus more on the relationships a bit more, and I think you can make it happen this month. Definitely with all those sort of death and transformation cards, there is this feeling like I don't want to miss out. And I think that's okay. Just don't let fear enter into that. Instead, say, here's what I want to do before I, transition into the next realm of existence. So let's make sure that each and every day I'm kind of like moving along that list, and that each night I feel like I have no regrets. That's really good for everybody in the category of wealth. Let's go ahead now and move on to love and relationships. We have this out of this world card here, actually. So the card is reversed. There's an alien on it. It says Arcturian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. The love, the partnership, the connection that you bring in this month could be out of this world. We can look at it in a sort of playful sense. There could be a past life energy. I don't really talk that much about star seeds or people from, having lifetimes beyond this planet. But if you're subscribing to that, we also see this sort of cosmic love, this cosmic connection. And I think we can just look at this as being something that you haven't experienced, extraordinary. So that is exciting when we're looking at relationships. And again, I very rarely get a love message, but I saw 2 beautiful golden rings in a jewelry box. So to me, you can take that any way you would like. Friendship, business partnership, lover, whatever it is, it felt really good. I looked at that and I felt this sort of like my heart skipped a beat, and I'm like, what a great message to bring forth. So there could just be some really good energy when it comes to love. And with that being said, let's look at it in 3 components: those in love, looking for love, or happily single. If you're in a loving relationship, like I said, it could be karmic, and there was a reason that you were drawn together. Right now, we're looking at some major changes coming through. One of those changes could be the birth of a child. One of those changes could be the death of a parent. Deaths and births are very similar, very sort of impactful energy. With the birth of a child comes the death of the old self and then the birth of the newer, stronger sort of parental energy that we see at the center. And so transformative, shifting energy. The good news, though, is doesn't look like either of you are going anywhere because we have the Hanged Man and the outcome. But these two cards could also show that things are getting stale. I like that passion is still here. It's here and it's here. But what's happening around this? Well, some of you are focusing, this is like a kind of like a retrospective Two of Wands because it's upside down looking at the past. So it's saying be more present, spend more time face to face with one another, really fanning the flame of the spark that got you together initially, speaking up positively, praising one another. I love it when you do this. I miss it when you aren't here, like just talking in ways that is supportive and affirmative. Let's see what else is coming through here. I think that some of you are just really tired, and it doesn't have to do with one another. It's more like work and life. And life has a way sometimes of wearing us thin and wearing us down. And this is where partnership can be very nice because you have that support system built in. If you're feeling tired and you can't be there for your partner, just talk to them about what's going on. It could also be good for you and or your partner to really lean on mutual friendships and relationships. It's important also to hang out with your own friends too, with or without the partner. It's basically just sort of expanding that network so that it's not just the two of you having to hold each other up. Ultimately, I think you can get through this, but it requires open communication and open-mindedness and a little bit of love and playfulness, because that is definitely flirtatious energy and this is passion. So making some time for that in the mix, even though you guys are super busy or super tired, is going to be key. And just embracing change. You know, as the years go on, the person you married and you as well, you've both changed. And in good relationships, you change together and celebrate the change. But the biggest challenge this month could just simply be you looking across the table thinking, who are we? How did we end up here? And I think that happens in jobs and in relationships. But in the relationship, you just want to talk through that and not let fear come in and come between you. Because I still think that there's a lot of love and passion and camaraderie and deep connections from this life and from others, as we see here. That's key. And if we look at the light codes here, there are a couple things that I wanted to bring up. Again, evolutionary. It's not about staying the same. It's about changing, celebrating those changes. It's also not this sort of seesaw of power. You always had the power to do something. Now is just a time to like stand your ground, reclaim your power, and really see one another as equals, okay? Looking at the future, making some plans together as well. All right, let's look at those that are looking for love. If you're looking for love, the first thing that I see, some of you are, you're tired or you're worn out, and it's important to recalibrate and rest before moving into, the seeking a partnership sort of phase. What we see coming through for some of you, it could be a fire sign. We definitely get this past life energy. It may start in the realm of like just being friends or just talking about something, a common interest. Could even be from like extracurricular activity or some sort of hobby that you have that you strike up a conversation with someone and it grows from there. I think the key thing for you to do right now, though, is take care of your health, particularly when it comes to sleep. Slow down a little bit and maybe pull back on some of the other activities and make room for the relationship, because right now there's so much energy around work or seeking work. Maybe there's just a lot of energy here also around some healing that needs to be done, that it's hard to be there or to even see the partner coming in. Slow down. So fire sign, past life energy. They may or may not have a child, by the way, with the Six of Cups. The main thing here to focus on is that sense of playfulness and passion. It should be in existing relationships. It should be in new ones, okay? For those of you that are single and happy, good for you. What I'm seeing coming forth for you is the ability actually to launch something new. So it could be a project or idea. It could also be a chance for you to do some travel and exploration. And I definitely think that there's still a capability for you to network and build new relationships this month. I said it earlier, it does not have to just be love. It could be something pivotal in business or personal development or friendship. And people are here no matter which phase of relationship you're in. As we take a look at destiny, we have the prayer coming through, which echoes what I talked about before. Speak, wish, and basically envision things into being. This is the time to really understand the importance that believing is seeing. If you can feel it, if you can see it, you can bring it into existence through manifestation. So whatever you want to call prayer, or however you do it, it's important to make time for this. For some of us, this is just meditating. And it's saying, I'm grateful for the experiences I have. This is what I'm trying to create. Whatever is up there, whatever power of creation and guidance is there, show me the path. Prayer can be that simple. Some of us have a different word for the creator or for who we connect to, but the main thing here is make some time for yourself to tune in, and make some time also to communicate the wishes to whatever your version of the divine is, because that is where the magic really starts to happen this month. So make time for prayer, meditation, and intention, okay? Let's dig a little deeper and take a look at sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what's in store for you. Sun, rising, and moon. All right, let's begin first with the sun sign. We have a 7 of Cups here, one that's much different than the traditional card. Traditional one, we see someone exploring all of the possibilities, maybe even somewhat overwhelmed, but in this version, we see someone who knows what they want and they're reaching for it. They know what they want because they've gone through that phase of exploration. So step 1, give yourself permission to survey, to see what's out there, to ask questions, to be curious. And then whether or not you've been given support or encouragement before, this card is saying you owe it to yourself to go for it, to have a stretch goal and really do whatever you need to do to inform yourself and allow yourself to reach for that. And one of the common threads that we've had in this reading today is don't limit possibilities based on fear or the unknown. This is really about trying something new, especially with the energy of change coming through time and again. So you owe it to yourself to reach for the stars and make that wish come true. As we take a look here at rising and ascendant, this is what I was seeing with the 2 rings. This is the partnership energy that's coming through. 4 of Wands can represent a contract. It can be marriage. It can be a very strong foundational relationship. The card in reverse can mean that it's going to take some time sometimes. When you know what you want and you're discerning and picky, you may not be able to accept the first thing that comes along because your expectations are high. So that Hanged Man card that was reversed in the outcome is saying, take your time, wait for what you're looking for to come through, keep those standards high, keep the expectations there, and also don't lose hope. Just because it takes longer doesn't mean that it's not happening, all right? 4 of Wands in reverse can also be things happening faster than you expected. And then there's self-doubt that comes through and you're like, how did this already happen? I got other things that I'm focusing on. Try to just go with the flow of the energy when it comes to this. The other thing here is that you're just deciding to put a little bit more focus on the core relationships in your life. Best friends, family, and loved ones, okay? In the moon sign, we have a simple message: lead, don't follow. This Queen of Wands is holding a sunflower that is literally the sun, and we can see all of these pollinators buzzing around it. Basically, she's saying, I've worked hard to get to this point. I'm a voice and a force to be reckoned with. Listen to me, see me. And she, in some ways, is even stronger than the king because his card was reversed. She's not really sort of doubting or backing down from her power. She's very comfortable with that. This is also a really good developmental card. So if there's something that you need to launch or develop or see to fruition, she's the one to do it. Very good for entrepreneurial energy and a really great attractive energy all around her with all of these bees and moths and pollinators. So you can actually pull things together, get the right team, get the right group. And if you're looking for love or partnership, yes, you can find a like-minded energy this month as well. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your final question. This can be anything that I haven't yet had a chance to look at. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Okay, you got 2 cards, so we're going to honor that. All right, so the first of the 2 cards is the 10 of Wands. I mentioned earlier, don't give up. So not only that, look at how fruitful this Ten of Wands is. We see like all of these tulips and spring flowers everywhere. And that is almost beautifully connected to this Death card, saying that whatever left or is lost, you'll get that back maybe tenfold. There's some beautiful energy there. This is also about moving. So if you're looking to do something, the first of the two cards is a yes, but it might require travel or movement. It's also saying that you're bearing a lot of the weight of the burden, emotionally, energetically, or literally just carrying or doing a lot. And this is saying, take care of yourself and make sure that you're not having to do the work of 2 or 3 people unnecessarily. Beneath the card, we have a new beginning. And I mentioned that this is birth, this is change, this is new beginnings. The Fool is saying, again, these are both travel cards, by the way, and movement cards. This is by foot. This can be using a different form of transportation. But one of the things that's going to help you with whatever it is that you're asking or looking at is moving. And also, this is just taking the first step. That could be sending an email, making a phone call, or simply doing a little bit of research to see what that first step should be. But getting out in the world and really breathing some life into that. Don't be afraid to do so, okay? So we see one thing ending, one thing beginning. We see both of these being a yes and movement, both physical and then also energetic. That's going to be key here, but it's a yes if you had a yes or no. And we see a couple of things happening at once, an end and a beginning. And we're back there. It seems really appropriate that everything comes full circle. So that, my friends, is everything for the month ahead. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, do me a favor. It's 100% free, but it helps me know that you like this. It also helps other people find the video. So like it if you can. And if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and you can opt into notifications as well. Another great way to stay connected is through following me on social media. It's always my full name exactly as it's spelled here on YouTube. And if you ever need to just clarify that you're following the right account, you can do so by going to my website as well, or looking at the links on my main channel page. Remember, I do not offer any private readings, nor do I use direct messages. So if somebody does that, first of all, let me know about it and then block and report them and just stay safe. If you want to give back, you can do so through super stickers, super chat, memberships, and it's all right here on YouTube. So thank you for doing that. That allows me to create podcasts, to do more content like this that you love. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you. Thanks for spending this hour with me, for working on yourself and being the best part of what I do here. Take care.